The PFL fight that he needs to do is Deontay Wilder. There is no question that is who he needs to fight, okay? Any other option, if you just try to like, you know, oh, look, this guy's been doing good in PFL. I know there are a couple of guys that are nasty heavyweights. No, that's not, except not for where Francis is. You want to retain Francis's value, okay? After that, Deontay Wilder, period. You need to establish that Francis Ngannou is the real heavyweight champion in fighting. And you are not going to do that by having him fight someone that no one knows. All right, I love you guys, so I'm going to show you this right out of the gate. Here's the knockdown from the first round, and then we will get into the second knockdown and the knockout. Check this. Now, obviously, in the video, we're going to get into the details of exactly how that got set up and how that happened. And also we'll watch second knockdown, knockout, and then we'll talk Dana White, his contract, how much money he's made, what he's going to do next, and what this meant overall. But buckle up. Well, Anthony Joshua just absolutely starched Francis Ngannou, and we are going to talk about that. I'm going to show you guys the knockdown. I'm going to show you the knockdown in the first, knockdown in the second, and then the knockout in the second. So we'll go through all of that, but there's a much bigger conversation to be had after this, which is about the decisions that Francis has made, because right now, this is a total game changer in terms of like, okay, can we now assess whether or not Francis made the right decision when he left UFC? Because now we know this is what's coming next for him in terms of his career. And here is how much money he made, which I will be very candid with you guys. I know like exactly how much money he's made so far, and what he has, set to make contractually, like where it's guaranteed already in contracts that he has going forward. So we could take that and we can compare it to what it was what he was offered, and we'll talk a little bit about. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about the fight, Anthony Joshua, how he handled it, and all this other stuff. I mean, like this was. I'm really sad for Francis and Markel and Eric and like his whole team. Like I'm very sad, for them. But like, this was a reality check, dude. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like this was a reality check, because this is what it looks like when an MMA fighter who's a good striker goes up against a world-class boxer. Because Tyson Fury has a style that is like, he's very, very tall, and he puts you on the wrong side of very, very long jabs, crosses. There was no, obviously, did he take Francis super serious? Maybe, maybe not. Was he carrying him a little bit to make sure they got a little bit of show? Who knows? Francis looked way better than anybody anticipated. But Anthony Joshua did not take him lightly at all. Anthony Joshua trained for this fight like he was fighting Muhammad Ali in his prime, Mike Tyson in his prime. He trained for this fight like his life depended on it, and he went out there and executed like his life depended on it. And I cannot even explain to you how big the skill gap was when you actually watch this, if you know what you're looking at, right? The beginning of the first round, Francis looked fantastic. The second that he faced even a little bit of adversity, that's when you're like, oh, this is done. Like as soon as the second round started, I was like, this is over. I knew before he took another shot, this is going to end real bad, because Francis was so itchy then. Like if you guys, I don't know if you guys watched it, if you guys will go back, but like, Francis's lead hand, he wanted to land that front, he wanted to land that lead hook. He was trying to counter with his left hook over and over and over, which is good. It's a great fucking punch. But as soon as he got clipped in that first round, he was reacting so much to everything Anthony Joshua did. Like he was just overreacting. Like there is no reason that your hand should be moving, no matter how fast you think you're doing it. If your hand is moving like this when you're not throwing punches, a guy like Anthony Joshua, he is going to find your chin. And he did. Or your temple or whatever. Yeah, so again, this is right where Francis had switched stances. He's fighting orthodox. He switches to southpaw, and then this is the first knockdown in the first. Just right down the cock, dude. Okay, so I think honestly, one of the most important parts of that clip is I want you to watch the last second of this, okay? So now when he's back up, watch his lead hand, okay? Watch his lead hand when Anthony Joshua feints. Watch this. Watch Francis's lead hand. See that? That. Okay? Soon as I saw that, because the next round, he just started doing that over and over and over. You know, just like... I mean, if you watch the best boxers, that is not what they do. I mean, you know, they're following the hand that they're responsible for. If you're here, you're following that hand, and you know, they're here. This, you know, following the hand is very different from what he did. You know, like that spaz where that's biting on feint. He bit on that so hard, and then the second round he started biting on everything. He was because honest to God, you want to know what that probably was right there? That knockdown? Not even probably. I would bet you that is for sure the hardest that Francis ever been punched his entire life. By a fair margin too. That shot that he took in the first round is probably the hardest he's ever been punched. So like all of a sudden he's on the biggest stage in the world. You know, he came in wildly confident. You know, he fought Tyson Fury fucking 10 rounds and didn't get rocked, didn't get hurt, nothing. And then he comes in and the first real punch that Anthony Joshua threw was the hardest shot he's ever taken in his entire life. And he was rattled, dude. You know what I mean? And so he went out there overreacting and Anthony Joshua just put him down. Now let's watch the second sequence here. So this is the second round. This is the second knockdown and the, here it is. Second knockdown and the knockout. These are from MMA Junkie. Now, so let me show you that. MMA Junkie. Let me tell you why you might want to ask yourself if you wanted the credit for that. I can guarantee you cell phones were not allowed right there. So I don't know. You know, it's like, oh yeah. I mean, you could have gotten it from someone else, but if that's an MMA Junkie press pass person, you ain't going back to Saudi Arabia. Anyway, so here we go. This is the last two, knockdown and knockout. I mean, that one was just like, I mean, you guys all know. I don't even need to tell you. That was a lazy kind of like, that was just a lazy jab that was an easy over the top counter. You know, he kind of just threw it out there and did, you know, boom, not that, you know, like this, not. He was like, threw it out there and then just, you know, took an over the top counter. So here you go again. That was probably the second hardest he's ever been punched in his life. And we're about to see the hardest he's ever been punched ever. Like, you know, bigger than the first round. Now he's really rattled. He gets knocked out on the next punch. Out. Which brings us to the meat and bones of this conversation, which is money. And not just money. Not how much money is... I'm going to tell you how much money Francis has made. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just basically just lay out all the factors related to the decisions that he's made, where he's at, and then tell you what I think about whether or not he made the right call leaving UFC now that we see that the likelihood of him winning a heavyweight championship is not high at all, right? So here's the deal. He, thus far, since leaving the UFC, has made around $29 million, like made as, you know, after tonight, like $29 million. He has contractually guaranteed 2 fights at PFL, each for $8 million. And then I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this. There's probably a pay-per-view component also, but definitely $8 million guaranteed for each of those. That's another $16 million. So let's call it 30. So $46 million is what he's made since leaving the UFC. Okay. So listen, when he turned down $5 million for Cyril Gane, I'm pretty sure that everybody who was near this thing, except for him and Markel, were like, are you out of your mind? Like, are you crazy? You're going to, because he turned that down for Stipe also. Well, that's actually not exactly true. I don't think it was like, that can't be right, because he couldn't have been getting offered that for a challenger fight. He only had one defense. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is definitely for the Cyril Gane fight, he turned down $5 million. Which, and that I don't even know if that includes pay-per-view. You know, Francis said in an interview today, 5. I'm aware of some of the offers. I have no idea like details, but it doesn't matter. So he turned out $5 million for Cyril Gane, which is unbelievable. Incredible foresight. And in that same clip, he said that he had owed Kamaru Usman $200,000 at that time. So Kamaru Usman had actually loaned Francis $200,000 to get him by while he was going through this thing with the UFC. Which, dude, big ups to Kamaru Usman. That's a lot of money to loan somebody, dude. That's a lot of money. I don't care how much money you have. $200,000 is a big debt, dude. And that's one of those things that that's your boy right there, dude. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That's your boy. Now, and like the people around Francis completely have his back, dude. It's like Markel went through fire for this guy, dude. Markel left every single contract on the table with Francis. He fought absolutely made his eyes bleed to get these Saudi fights. Tyson Fury, and then ultimately with Anthony Joshua. Markel fucking... So like Kamaru keeping him afloat financially, Markel, all the stuff that he's rode with him on, he's got good people around him. But at the same time now, you got to just look and go, all right, so what would have happened if he fought you? So let's say he turns down let's say he fights for the $5 million, and then he gets the John Jones fight, which he probably would have made 10. So he would have got those 2 fights, and he would have made $15 million, right? Let's say that he won. Okay, let's say that he won both of those fights. So he's made, or I guess let's call it $16 million. So he's made $16 million after those 2 fights. High side, way high side estimates there. It's probably more realistic to say like 14. So he would have made $14 million, and let's say he won both, he would be the heavyweight champion of the world in the UFC. 14. He now has made 30. He's made, let's call it 28. He's made twice as much money, okay? Made twice as much money, at least twice as much. And he's got another 16 guaranteed at PFL without lifting a finger. He knows that money's coming. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. He has 2 fights in the PFL with another 16. So here's the thing, dude. Like, people can look from the outside at a prize fighter's life and think like, yeah, but he doesn't get to fight the best guys in the world now in the cage. And I'll tell you exactly what they should do. Because I will tell, like, there is one move for him in PFL, 1, not 2, unless I'm forgetting something, but like the move is absolutely crystal clear. Yellow brick road to Oz. That is the answer. I'll tell you in a second. But people from the outside look at prize fighters and they really believe that there is a world where because he would be in the UFC and now because he got knocked out by Anthony Joshua, they're like, oh, he made the wrong call. And it's like, dude, these are real people. Like, Francis Ngannou is an actual human who lives the same type of life as you or has the same concerns. Everybody has the same concerns, dude. Your stress level is going to be dictated. Your happiness and stress level is going to be dictated by, where you're at on the same scale that everyone has. Money, security, what's your long-term, you have goals, whatever. But there is no possible way that a guy who had to borrow money from their fighter friend in order to make ends meet, going into this decision where he turned down $5 million, subsequent to that, right, turns down $5 million, now will have made, low side, so 28 plus 16 is whatever, 44 million, okay? There's no conversation there. He's going to make an extra $30 million. And let's say that those numbers are not right, which they definitely are right. Let's say you take 10 million off that. He made an extra $20 million. That's That's actually, no, that's not right. Because he would have, just on the PFL, no signing bonus, okay? No signing bonus, just the guaranteed 2 fights. $8 million is probably more than he would have made in the UFC in those 2 fights, right? Which he has forthcoming. So the first Tyson Fury fight, second, and then this fight, plus signing bonus, $30 million more. $30 million more doing what he did in a situation where he had to borrow money from Kamaru Usman in order to make ends meet. There's no conversation here. If anybody is going to like make a video and be, oh, he should have never left UFC, you're a fucking idiot. Well, I won't say that because I bet you there are some smart people who will probably say that, who are not idiots. They just have not thought this through. And as soon as they watch this, they're going to be like, oh yeah, that's true. You know, like someone does not have enough money to make ends meet. And then you fast forward 2 years from a decision that they made, or shit, it might even be 1 year now that I think about it, but whatever. 1 year, 2 years. And they have made triple the money because it would have been, there's no conversation there. So congratulations to Francis. I'm sure that he's devastated. Of course he's devastated, but, all you can do in life is make the decisions that are in front of you and try to make the right ones. And he made the right ones. You know, you can't go back in time and untrain Anthony Joshua. Like the reason that Francis can do well against, now let's talk about this. Hang on. Actually, I will say the PFL thing because I hyped it up so much. The PFL fight that he needs to do is Deontay Wilder. There is no question that is who he needs to fight. Okay. Any other option, if you just try to like, you know, oh, look, this guy's been doing good in PFL. I know there are a couple of guys that are nasty heavyweights. No, that's not, except not for where Francis is. You want to retain Francis's value. Okay. After that, Deontay Wilder, period. You need to establish that Francis Ngannou is the champ, is the real heavyweight champion in fighting. And you are not going to do that by having him fight someone that no one knows. Even though it obviously defies all logic for people who understand MMA, you're all, so wait, you need to establish that he's the MMA king, and so you have him fight a boxer with no MMA fights? I get it, dude. But perception is reality. Everyone knows Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is a heavy puncher. Exactly like Anthony Joshua, who knocks out Francis Ngannou, who's 0-1 as a pro boxer, and they're like, is he the best heavyweight in the world? And you're like, he just beat a guy who had lost his only pro bout. Now he's the best in the world. It's exactly the same thing in reverse. So you put Deontay in there, Francis will whip his fucking ass, and then he establishes, like, yeah, you guys can have boxing. You know, I mean, at least that's what he says. This is real fighting. This is where I'm the king. That's what you have to do. You do not have another choice. That is the answer for PFL. They have to do whatever they have to do to make the Deontay fight. Okay, last point, and then I'm going to sign this off. What I was talking about prior to the Deontay Wilder thing is I was like, the reason why Francis can do well against a guy like Tyson Fury is because Tyson Fury is not, he's not mobile the way, I mean, you know, obviously I know Tyson Fury has great footwork. I know, but like he is a big, huge 7-foot man who fights behind a super long jab. Okay. He's not quick. He's not super mobile like Francis is. And like even more so, Anthony Joshua is. Anthony Joshua is what Francis would be if he had been a finely tuned boxer since he was 10. Okay. Like in hindsight, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. Francis, this was the absolute worst matchup for Francis ever. This was the absolute worst matchup for Francis ever in hindsight. I can't say it better than that. Anthony Joshua is Francis Ngannou if Francis Ngannou had been training boxing every minute since he was 10. Francis started training boxing at age 25. The reason why Francis saying he wanted to be the heavyweight champion in boxing was such a long shot, ludicrous goal to have is because people like Anthony Joshua exist, which are him exactly, except training since they were 10. That's the entire reason that it was such a long shot, crazy goal to chase. He's won in every possible way except, you know, the one goal that he kind of had in his mind is unrealistic at this point. Like, bottom line, dude. He is not going to beat Anthony Joshua. There's not a world where that fight goes his way. But you're not going to convince me otherwise. That was very decisive. It wasn't a fluke thing. Anthony just looked at what he had and then he was like, this is easy. Bap, 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 done. But I love Francis. I love his team. You know, what he's accomplished is absolutely incredible. And, you know, I'll be watching no matter what he does. So I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel.